The following is taken from Franciscan father and author Randy Rohr, who describes the liminal experience in the following way with some minor changes. Transportation, that's kind of a transportation in a way, but really it's a transformation. All transformation takes place here in liminal space. We have to allow ourselves to be drawn out of business as usual and remain patiently on the threshold, limen from the Latin. We are betwixt and between the familiar and the completely unknown. There alone is our old world left behind, while we are not yet sure of the new existence. That's a good space where genuine newness can begin. Get there often and stay as long as you can, by whatever means possible. It's the realm where imagination can best get at us, because our false certitudes are finally out of the way. This is a sacred space where the old world is able to fall apart and the world newly imagined is revealed. If we don't encounter liminal space in our lives, we start idealizing normalcy. The threshold is imagination's waiting room, where we are taught openness and patience. Here, we come to expect an appointment with the divine artist.
If you are honest about your past life, you have experienced a string of overlapping endings and beginnings. Your life most likely was not a straight and unaltered path from where you were to where you are now. This twisted, non-linear journey will likely be your future. You've been through many endings in your life, like graduating, moving out of the home where you were raised, roommates leaving, relationships ending, births, deaths, job terminations, a serious medical diagnosis. And with each ending, a beginning lingers in the shadows. In time, a beginning will show up. But today's message is not about endings nor beginnings. It is about the space in between. The word liminality comes from the Latin limen, for threshold. And it's literally the threshold of a Roman home where you take off your shoes and you step into their home, the limen separating one space from the other. And like many of you, I hate liminality. Those of us who are addicted to certainty slide into liminality screaming and trying to claw our way back to a comfort zone. When going backwards to an ending is impossible, we rush out of liminality by searching for a pathway out as quickly as possible. We look for the fastest way through. And sometimes in our haste to leave our discomfort zone, we end up in a worse situation. Out of the frying pan into the fire. Being in a liminal phase is disorientation, and it's caused by something ending and the new thing not even there to begin. In between is where none of our social constructs that define who we are remain. Our resistance stems from the fact that liminality always begins with an ending, an experience of loss. And humankind resists loss. We also resist the unknowing inherent in the not yet. the loss of control over our own destiny. This is damn uncomfortable. And when our better angels leave us in our liminal phase, we become insensitive to those around us. And we become focused on our own finding, our own destination to get out of the betwixt and between. Think about airports. An airport is not a destination unless you work there. It is a liminal place of not being in your home and not yet where you're trying to get to. An airport is in between. And most of us rush through airports, not paying attention to anyone or anything except our departing gate and the time. People are not their best in airports. Maybe because it's a liminal place. People in liminal places operate under different rules. From the book, How to Lead When You Don't Know Where You're Going, by Susan Beaumont, comes some predictable behaviors that she writes about when people in an organization enter into a liminal space. Anxiety rises. Motivation falls. People question their attachment to the organization and if they even really want to continue on it because it's uncomfortable. Another thing she notes is old weaknesses, long patched over or compensated, reemerge in full bloom. Old conflict issues can emerge. And third, she says, people in the organization are easily polarized between those who want to rush forward into a new thing and those who long to return to the way things used to be. Now, I suggest that you as a congregation don't strive for this behavior during your threshold year, but these behaviors in some form or another can occur, and it's best to be aware when they appear. Big picture, never before have we been pushed, dragged, and shoved into so many simultaneous liminal phases. Almost everything about our experiences has become liminal all at the same time. Certainly, there's the historical political turmoil in our government. There's the rise of authoritarian leadership in the world. There's the wars and the deadly civil conflicts in Ukraine, Somalia, Yemen, Ethiopia, Pakistan, Haiti. There's climate change. There's income inequity like it's never been before. The negative consequences of the pandemic. The changes and losses in reproductive rights. Your minister is retiring. Your RE program is being suspended. You are living in liminal land. Everything seems betwixt and between. You're swimming in a sea of endings without a boat or life preserver. This is damn uncomfortable. In the turmoil of a liminal phase, people are so uncomfortable that they are easily swayed by authoritarian, charismatic people who promise to either take them forward or backwards to a comfortable state. Our country is in such a liminal state. People want quick answers. They want someone to resolve their disorientation and take them back to their comfort zone. Or, if you can't take me back to my comfort zone, please take me forward to some kind of resolved situation. But don't leave me here in this disorientation. And we see the rise of false prophets. False prophets who promise to provide comfort if you just surrender your rights and freedoms. Tricksters who confuse us with untruths, truthiness, and lies to our emotions. Rational thought is disdained and ridiculed. Our fears are fanned into a wildfire of hate while the false prophets give us no destination. But what if we resist the temptation to jump out of our liminal state at some quick fix? What if we resist the false prophets? What if we sit in our discomfort and let the disorientation allow us to see new pathways? What if the liminal phase is not something to be rushed through, but something that can provide us with a transformational experience? Could our new normal of being in between be our blessing? If you've ever been extremely sad with a loss, if you've ever been depressed, if you've ever been disoriented by some life event, perhaps over time, you remember a time, a moment, a turning point when you began to see beyond your sadness, beyond your disorientation. Now, I'm not talking about a sudden epiphany, but that moment of transformation that only comes when you are between an ending and a beginning. I have had such moments. Only by sitting in a liminal phase did I see my calling to ministry and left my corporate career and went to seminary. Only in sitting in a liminal phase, I saw a psychiatrist and my journey out of depression began. Only in sitting in a liminal phase, this job became open in 2013, and my greatest rewarding phase of life began. There are many blessings available in liminality. There are freeing opportunities, the letting go of the old assumptions and practices that are just no longer working. Liminal phases provide us with the opportunity for transformation. Your lay leaders have decided on entering a liminal phase, the threshold year of deciding what this church can sustainably be. It's liminal time. You, this fellowship, are betwixt and between what was and what will be. And you don't know what it will be. You're entering liminal land, and this is damn uncomfortable. So how do you receive and reap the blessings of this transformation and all that liminality can provide? Well, I go back to the book. You can always tell when a minister's read a book. And so you go back to this book, how to lead without knowing when you're going. Here are some suggestions for all of y'all. I'm an engineer and I like lists. Number one, breathe. It bears repeating. Breathe. Just breathe. Number two, resist the temptation to act from a place of strong authority. Resist finding and following a dominant person or group. Don't rush out of your liminal phase. To gain insightful perspectives, you need to hang out in this phase of not knowing. Hang out together and go slow. Number three, this is important, don't create activities to release your anxieties. Fake work will not transform you or this fellowship. Number four, ask questions of yourself and of each other. The questions like, who are we? Who do we serve? Who do we choose to be? What do we stand for? What are we called to do next? We are in liminality. We are all personally, collectively in liminality, except that we are in between. We are betwixt and between. You have a sacred opportunity to transform yourself and this fellowship into a sustainable place for you and for future generations. Except that we are here. and see what we can learn from the land of unknowing, liminal land. Amen, and blessed be.